everybody. Welcome back to Q-Tips. We are the Video Store Junkies. Today we are bringing you some selections that you cannot watch on streaming. That's right. It's a super special episode of Unqueued Tips. These are movies that we love, presumably, and they are just not available on streaming ever. And so we've never recommended them to you. So we're just going to take a little time to talk about them today. And I will throw this over to Paul.
Well, why, thank you, Renee. My theme is films that aren't streaming that scared the crap out of me as a kid. And I'll take you back to 1973, back when TV movies were really good and really creepy. And this one is Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. It was recently, Jesus. It was in 2010 it was remade. But this is the original, starring Kim Darby and Jim Hutton, who you would know his son, Timothy Hutton. And there are a couple that inherit, I think it was a brownstone or basically an old house. And I think it's just an old house. And there's something that might be living in the basement. Basically, Kim Darby is sort of haunted by these little creatures that sort of look like cone heads whose heads are all shriveled up like prunes. It scared the crap out of me as a kid. William Demarest, who was Uncle Charlie from My Three Sons, was the was like the handyman who warned them against things. And apparently, Felix Silva was one of the creatures, and then Tamara Detrow, who I think was the one who she had played E.T., I believe. She was one of the other creatures in it. Scary as shit. I mean, it freaked the fuck out of me. I remember watching it on, I think, like Channel 5 in the afternoon. Great stuff. Love it. And you can't watch it anywhere. At least as far as I know. So, but yeah, great scary stuff. And speaking of people who are on My Three Sons, I'll pass this to Zach.
Oh, thank you, Paul. Yeah, people don't know. I was actually the fourth son that only appeared in one episode, and then I was written off for some reason. I don't know why. That's fine. I still get residual checks. Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about some horny vampires, because that's what I want to talk about tonight. Let's face it. There have been a lot of horny vampire movies in over the course of time. A lot of horny Dracula movies. I mean, I think there have been some pretty much softcore porn. Dracula vampires are supposed to be sexy. They're supposed to be alluring. I don't know. I don't quite get it. I've never quite understood the whole thing. I pass out when I see blood, so I think it's kind of the opposite of sexy to me. But whatever. Some people are into that sort of thing. And one person who was apparently very horny for some vampires was Mr. Francis Ford Coppola, because I just rewatched his 1992 film Bram Stoker's Dracula, and oh my gosh, it is incredibly horny, and it's the kind of movie that they don't really make, like mainstream films. They just don't make movies like this anymore. I had seen this when I was a kid. Obviously, I did not pick up on a lot of the horniness. I think I remember, I noted that there were boobies in it, but yeah, it's a saucy one. And what a cast! Let's talk about the cast here. You've got Monica Bellucci, you got Tom Waits, you got Billy Campbell, you got Carrie Elwes, and of course you got the man himself, as he says in the movie, Keanu Reeves, one of my favorite British actors of all time, Mr. Keanu Reeves as Jonathan Harker. You've also got Winona Ryder, and you've also got Dracula. You got a little up and coming actor by the name of Gary Oldman as Dracula, but. Really, I want to talk about, I know that Bill's probably going to fight me when I say this, but I want to talk about what I think may be one of the best Van Helsings of all time. You've got Anthony Hopkins in his prime as Van Helsing in this movie, and he's like the only person in the movie who's not just out and out horny, but even you can tell he's a bit randy. But he's also, I just love the way he plays him. He is, I don't know, he's a bit of a kook. He's a bit of a nutty professor type. I don't know. I love the way. I love the way he plays him, and he play. I think this would have been a year after Silence of the Lambs, so it was kind of interesting that I think I don't know. It's almost like he decided to play this role a little more not goofy, but I don't know. It seems like he was trying to get away from the Hannibal Lecter stereotype. But anyways, yeah. So Dracula. Oh, I also got to mention just insanely good costumes in this movie, insanely good special effects, insanely good makeup. I mean, this is a really like well-made film. And the thing is, it's one of those movies. I don't know if I'd even say it's a great movie, but it is a well-made film, and it's definitely worth watching, especially if you are into monster movies. So, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Where can you see it? Well, if you want to, I just bought it on 4K. It looks great in 4K. You can come over to my house and watch it because this is not streaming. Yeah, it's not streaming anywhere. You can rent it a bunch of places, but I would recommend seeking it out in beautiful 4K, and then you can see just all the details on Gary Oldman's makeup and his hairy Wolfman bod. I don't quite understand the whole Wolfman thing, but whatever. So yeah, Dracula. It's Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I think it probably. I nominate it for one of the horniest incarnations of Dracula ever. And by the way, side note, I had a great pairing for this because I was going to do the Ford Coppola family does Dracula because I was going to do this, and then of course just recently Nick Cage, Francis Ford Coppola's nephew, appeared in Renfield as Dracula.
Right.
But alas, the streaming services have stymied me yet again by not putting movies on their streaming services anymore. Because apparently that's gone out of fashion. Anyways, speaking of a nutty professor type, I will pass this over to Bill for his first uncute tip.
Speaking of things that are out of fashion. Oh, I love that. I love that movie. The one comment I'll make that just like Frankenstein, the true story, calling it Bram Stoker's Dracula when you diverge so completely from the novel is just a little okay, whatever. It's great. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so 1970 something. I love 3D movies. When I was a kid, I just loved the idea of 3D movies. And every few years, it would have a revival. They would try to bring it back, and then everyone would remember, oh, we don't like wearing these glasses, and then it would die out. And it just took every couple years. They would keep coming back and learning this. And we're in New York City. My dad and I were, I don't know what we were doing out there, but I see there is a 3D King Kong movie coming out. So this was probably, when did the Kong remake come out? 76, 77? I don't know. Sometime around there. And I had to go see it. A 3D King Kong movie. It was Ape. Well, Ape is probably streaming everywhere. Ape is the biggest piece of shit I have ever seen in my life. It was good 3D, but it was a guy in a gorilla suit. No effort made to make it look. It's so terrible. And here we are at a grindhouse in, Manhattan watching this. And of course, those movies always had double features. So what would you put with a badly made Korean 3D King Kong flick? Oh, you would put 1970s Colossus the Forbin Project. And
Ooh.
yes, and that was before the other one because we ran out of the theater after Ape. So they start playing this, and my dad really got into this because it's about, he worked for IBM, and this movie's about a giant computer that they give all of America's defense to. And when they turn it on, the very first thing it says is, there's another computer. Yeah, the Russians have one too. And then the two of them start communicating with each other and realize they've really got a lot more in common than they do with us. And things go south from there. They're trying, the humans try to break the contact between them of these two computers who they have given control of our nuclear arsenal to. And the computer is like, I think you better turn us back on because the missiles go flying. And yes, so Colossus takes over the world. And this is a great movie. It's so intelligent. It's really, really smart. And it is never playing anywhere. Anywhere. I keep trying. I desperately want to do this on Decades of Horror and everything because nobody knows about this movie. It's so ahead of its time, and I just love it. It's got Paul Frees as the voice of Colossus with a vocoder, and that is just, oh, man, cat's pajamas. A good cast, not really a lot of people who were famous, but it does have, and this was one of my favorites. Wait a minute, hold on, I got to find his name. Oh, yes, Hans Gudegast as the lead role. Well, that's what it was going to be, and then they went up to him and said, there is never going to be a movie made in this country with a lead actor named Hans Gudegast come up with anything else. So he became Eric Braeden and pretty much did that for the rest of his career. But he's terrific in it. They were planning on either Charlton Heston or Gregory Peck, and they realized, no, let's go with an unknown. And so they got Hans Gudegast, a.k.a. Eric Braeden. Everyone in this is top-notch. It's directed by Joseph Sargent, who... Okay, Joseph Sargent, he did this, which is a really, really just solidly good movie. He also made White Lightning with Burt Reynolds. He made MacArthur with Gregory Peck. He made the horror anthology Nightmares, and he's probably best known for The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, which is a really, really good thriller, crime thriller from that time. Yeah. So this guy's, he's got the chops. He was one of the people that they wanted to have direct the Vampirella movie that never got made. But he also did Jaws: The Revenge. And that movie, oh man, I mean, he was nominated, maybe won for Razzie for Worst Director. And from that point on, he never made another theatrical movie, did a lot of TV stuff. And, I guess he's just one of those guys who, a competent director if he had a good script. He wasn't gonna elevate it anywhere from, beyond where it was. But Colossus has a great script. And, Jaws 4 does not. So Jaws: The Revenge does not. Just, that's how it goes. But anyway, I highly recommend this film. Good luck finding it. If you do find it, let me know, because I'd like to see it again. It's one of those movies I've only seen maybe twice in my life, and yet I'm 100% certain when I see it again, it will be exactly how it plays out in my mind. I don't know if I saw it at the right time or for what reason, but I have such distinctive memories of really, really liking this film. So good luck. Good luck finding. Happy searching. It's never playing anywhere. And I send this off to Renee.
Well, thank you so much. Bill.
Yes?
The rumors are true.
Are they?
Yeah, they are. I do have a special someone in my life. And if nobody minds, I'd like to sing a little song just for him. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. You'd be like heaven to touch. I want to hold you so much. At long last, love has arrived, and I thank God I'm alive. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. That's right. It's 1999's Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Yay!
Did anybody get that?
No.
Did you know where I was going with that? No.
No, but it was fascinating. No.
I had no clue, but Drop Dead Gorgeous is great.
It was like the best scene. Okay. So this is a small town in Minnesota, and a group of lovely and talented teenage girls are competing for the Sarah Rose Cosmetics American Teen Princess Pageant. This is a glorious mockumentary. It has Christopher Guest vibes to it. It is so funny and dark, and the cast is amazing. The performances are just fantastic. And there are just some bits in this movie that are just brilliant, and I just really love this movie. It's great. And the cast, it stars Kirsten Dunst, Ellen Barkin, Allison Janney, Denise Richards, Kirstie Alley, Sam McMurray, Brittany Murphy, and she was absolutely delightful in this, Amy Adams, Matt Malloy, who played a super creepy judge named John Doe, but it was spelled like bread dough. And Adam West shows up for a few minutes. And all the while, Thomas Lennon is the voice of this documentarian. So it's very good. And it, of course, is not available on streaming. It is never available on streaming. However, if you live in certain regions, VPN, you may be able to watch it. Say perhaps you live in Italy, or you live in the UK, or Madagascar.
Oh.
You know, you never know. So yeah, once again, this is 1999's Drop Dead Gorgeous. And you know, Paul, I wouldn't be surprised if we never saw Denise Richards again. That's a Trixie Mattel joke.
It's been a long time since I see that movie, but it was fun. I remember really liking it.
It's been a long time. Sorry, I was gonna say this is actually one of those movies. I wish I had looked this one up. I wish I had stolen that pick, because this is one of those movies I will go and see periodically if it's streaming, so that I can recommend it. And yeah, it's been a minute. Maybe I'll go live in Madagascar for a minute and watch this movie, because I remember the thing I always remember is Adam West and his like little introduction, the part where he's like, welcome, hello there, everyone in beautiful Mount Rose, Minnesota.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I can't remember how it goes, but yeah, it's so good.
So my second pick of things that scared the crap out of me, and apparently also were usually shown on Channel 5, is Quatermass in the Pit from 1967. Also 5 Million Years to Earth.
Top
Yeah,
10.
it's not
Top
streaming.
10
I
for
would have
me.
thought it was.
I know.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. So those of you not familiar with Bernard Quatermass is a character that has been shown was in a number of British TV serials that later they would make movies out of, essentially. And to me, this was the best of all of them, and had the best Quatermass, and which played by Andrew Keir. It is so basically they're digging a new London Underground tunnel somewhere, or a new station, or they're expanding a station or something, and they come across buried underground what appears to be a spaceship. Not only a spaceship, but they find the skulls of like proto-humans like in the spaceship. And it just gets weirder from there. And so Dr. Bernard Quatermass I think he's like, at that point, he's part of the rocketry division or something, is brought in, and just shit gets really weird and freaky, and it scared the crap out of me. And I think it's one of the reasons that I always found crickets insanely creepy. When you watch it, you'll understand why. But man, it wasn't until we got a pet lizard and had to feed it crickets and keep them in a cage, and just go and buy 100 crickets at once, that I got over my just disgust for crickets, because this movie, holy crap. Anyway, great movie, freaked the shit out of me as a kid. Still holds up. I've got the Blu-ray of it and watched it, every once in a while, just pop it in, because it's just so good and just so creepy. So that's where will you find it? God knows where. Probably a DVD somewhere, or I hadn't really checked to see, maybe in Madagascar, I don't know. But it's found underneath by the name Quatermass in the Pit, or 5 Million Years to Earth. And speaking of people that you can find in Madagascar, I will pass this to Zach.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's just me and the hissing cockroaches down here. So we keep each other company. It's nice sometimes. Okay, so I want to talk about. I want to get into my time machine, and I want to take you all the way back to 1999, because that year, for some reason, virtual reality was hot. It was a hot topic in entertainment, in films and TV. Of course, everyone remembers The Matrix, big action. Oh, hey, it's with Bram Stoker's Dracula star Keanu Reeves. Yeah, he's doing an American accent in that movie. Everyone remembers that movie. Lots of people remember Existenz, the David Cronenberg movie. It's a weird one. Some people, probably like one or two. Okay, probably me and Paul remember The 13th Floor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one came out. No one remembers that. But I want to recommend something that like I have never met anyone who remembers this TV show, which is kind of surprising. This is a Chris Carter joint. This was back, he was he kept trying to do follow-ups to the X-Files. He kept trying to find shows that were just as popular as that show, and most of them only lasted a season, and this one was no exception. It only lasted for 9 episodes. The name of the show is Harsh Realm, and it's about a guy I don't remember the plot. It's been a little bit since I've seen it. I actually just the reason I'm recommending this, I realized the other day I actually have this on DVD. I just looked it up. You too can own it on DVD for about $20 from Amazon.com. But so yeah, I don't remember the exact setup, and I don't remember why. But there's a rogue general that has taken over this virtual reality, and this soldier has to go in and stop him. I don't remember why he has to go into the VR itself. But anyways, let's ignore that for a moment. Let's talk about the fact that this stars one of my favorite underappreciated actors, D.B. Sweeney, in a supporting role. But it also features one of my favorite actors of all time. I was gonna say TV actors, but no, he's just one of my favorite actors of all time. As the rogue General Omar Santiago, you got Mr. Terry O'Quinn himself, who of course would show up in pretty much everything Chris Carter does or did. So yeah, this one's, like I said, it's 9 episodes. It's on DVD. I don't quite know why this is not remembered, or it's one of those shows I'm kind of surprised it hasn't like developed a cult following in the years since it came on, just because it's just really, it's good. It's solid. It's a fun show. And so yeah, it's I guess a sign of its time, because VR was hot in 1999. And some of the things that involved VR got huge, and some of them got left behind. And unfortunately, this one got left behind. But where can you watch it? Yeah, you can't watch it anywhere. It's on DVD. So speaking of things that got left behind in 1999, I will pass this. I don't even know what that means, but I'll pass it over to Bill.
Well, thank you. Imagine you're a homemaker in somewhere in Illinois, and your husband's a journalist. Not a whole lot of money there, but your son, your pride and joy, actually gets to go to Harvard Medical School. And as soon as he gets out, he announces he is never, ever going to practice medicine. Nope. He's going to be a streetcar conductor or a novelist, one of those things. He's going to chase the dream. And I'm sure Zula Crichton wanted to bury her head in her gas oven and just turn it on high. But the joke's on her, because the guy, he became, well, he always was, Michael Crichton, and sold over 200 million books. Many of which have been made into movies, some of them quite successful. But the first time I ever even knew this guy existed was when I saw a movie, a 1974 horror science fiction movie, The Terminal Man. Another one of these movies, I really feel like on Decades of Horror, the 70s, we're not scraping the bottom of the barrel, but we got to reach pretty far in. It's just a matter of time. So things like Colossus and The Terminal Man would be great, perfect films to talk about, because 1, they're terrific, and 2, hardly anyone knows about them, but 3, nobody's streaming them. The Terminal Man, much like Colossus, I love the idea. The writing and everything is solid. It's about a guy who suffers from a very intelligent computer scientist, super high IQ, who has epilepsy that causes blackouts and violent behavior. So he volunteers for an experimental procedure where they're going to implant electrodes into his brain, and whenever they detect that a seizure is on the way, this computer will flood his brain with endorphins, and everything will be fine. And if you know anything about why we shouldn't take drugs, boys and girls, it's because if you take something that causes your brain to flood it with endorphins, the happy chemicals, your brain is going to want more of that. This is the danger of all drugs, is that your body will try to kind of go in the opposite direction. But so yeah, he becomes extremely addicted to the seizures. And because now there's a reward. Whenever he gets the seizures, the computer floods his brain with endorphins. So he becomes an absolute maniac. And that's so brilliant. It's really, really good. It stars George Segal, which is one of the reasons it didn't do well. Everybody saw him as kind of light comedy, and this is not a funny film. Directed by Mike Hodges, who's another one of these guys that he did Get Carter. He did Flash Gordon. The hell. Did some other British crime stuff. It's like, again, I'm trying to figure out where these guys, how does this happen? It's always, so if you're like a good director and then someone comes along and it's like, hey, we're going to do Flash Gordon and it's going to be crazy. You really got to sit down and just like, okay, they're offering me a ton of money, but this is not my thing. And I don't know, you might really want to think about saying no. It's hard to say no when they're throwing money at you, but it might have been a good idea because this should have done much better. He based the look of the film on American artist Edward Hopper, who's probably most famous for the painting of those people that are in a diner at night. If I showed it to you, you'd know exactly what I mean. I think, what was it called?
Nighthawks.
Thank you. Nighthawks. Yes, it's been parodied 1,000 times. That was the look they were going for. And it's been so long since I've been able to see this movie, I can't really say for sure that he was successful or not. But I really like when you hear about directors who are like, I was trying to get the vibe, the vision, the aesthetic of this painting, and you just think to yourself, that nobody does that anymore. That's where we've all gone wrong. Is people who are doing art don't really have the history of art behind them to build on that. And I don't know, but this is a fun. Well, it's not a fun movie, but it's a good movie, and it really shows Crichton. Even this is one of his earlier efforts. Good ideas. Am I totally mispronouncing this guy's name, Michael Crichton? I don't know. He's dead.
No, that's Crichton.
So
Yeah,
and he had cool ideas. Now, maybe the execution wasn't always solid, but dang, man, Amber, dinosaur DNA in Amber brings back dinosaurs. You know what? Listen, there's been a lot of movies where dinosaurs got brought back, and none of them made a damn lick of sense. So, full credit that he was able to get that one going, and we got I don't know if we got a great series out of it, but we got a series out of it. Yeah. So that's The Terminal Man. Good luck finding it. Again, if anyone knows where, could someone just find these and put them on YouTube? Because clearly nobody cares. Nobody cares about them. They're not, from the people who brought you Jurassic Park. Is that so damn hard to just put that on the cover and people just out of curiosity, well, I like Jurassic Park. I'll give this one a try too. Dang. Just, yes, do that. Okay, Colossus, the Forbin Project. Yeah, are you afraid of AI? Who isn't? Well, here's a movie about it. Yeah, go with it.
Here's a just to illustrate that. Actually, no. I was going to say there was a hit television show based on one of his movies, but you can't find Westworld streaming anywhere. And then I realized that HBO actually removed Westworld, the TV show, from streaming, so you can't find either of them anywhere.
What?
Nice.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because they get tax write-off, man. You gotta. The only reason to create art in the 21st century is to not show it to anyone and then write it off on your taxes. Apparently.
So basically, the 20th century 21st century has become the producers, where we're making product just to lose money, and
yes.
It almost makes you think. Some of these streaming things are like one gigantic Ponzi scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly not. No.
And so, with that rant out of the way, I send this back to the ever lovely. I hope she has another song in her because she has a lovely singing voice, Renee.
My impression of Denise Richards. Oh, thank you so much. Speaking of movies that made absolutely no money at all, 1987's Amazon Women on the Moon. Yes, that's right. This movie, okay, so it's a bunch of different segments. I'll explain it a little bit more. It was directed by a handful of people like Joe Dante, John Landis, Peter Horton, one other guy. And it has a, sorry to the other guy. And
the rest.
That's how I tell people about our podcast. So it has just a huge cast of people in it. It has Arsenio Hall, who is having the worst day ever. Joey Pants in a wonderful infomercial. It has David Alan Grier, who is suffering from a mysterious ailment. And Steve Guttenberg, one of my personal favorites, and Rosanna Arquette in a fun little skit that is a good snapshot of the future of dating, and a real deep dive look at the unsolved case of Jack the Ripper. So, yeah. Other people in this movie are Michelle Pfeiffer. Peter Horton is in a skit, not the one he directed, but a different skit. Carrie Fisher, Sybil Danning, Steve Allen, Ed Begley Jr., Kelly Preston, Henny Youngman, B.B. King, Lana Clarkson, and Rip Taylor. Fun little story. I was at Dragon Con. It was like 2006, I think. And I saw a guy waiting outside the bathroom to meet Rip Taylor, which honestly, I appreciated that he didn't follow him into the bathroom. But he he was like walking behind him and he realized that he went into the bathroom and the guy sort of had like a moment of, what do I do? And then he just stood there and waited till he came out. Yeah, it was funny.
Wow.
So this movie, it has sort of this wraparound story, which is kind of a spoof on the old like 1960s, spaceman goes to a planet, meets a hot chick kind of movie. Mm-hmm. And in between, it's spliced with these like little commercials and little segments and things. And it's just like this goofy parody on like the 1980s late night TV watching experience. And as a kid who grew up in front of a TV, this was basically like my childhood, but in parody form. And this movie is never ever streaming. It cost a lot of money to make, and it didn't make any money back. The good news is a lot of the clips you can find on YouTube. So maybe I'll put I might put some links in the description.
I like Amazon Women on the Moon.
Oh, you do? I didn't think.
Yeah.
He also likes the movie.
Liked this movie.
It's not as good as Kentucky Fried Movie, which it's sort of a kind of sequel to, but that one had a fistful of yen, and that's just like the best. But it does have the Jack the Ripper sequence, and that's terrific.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd said that on Decades for some reason.
I might have. I contain multitudes. I'll turn on a dime.
I was at a dance when she caught my eye, standing all alone, looking sad and shy. We began to dance, swaying to and fro, and soon I knew I'd never let her go. Blame it on the bossa nova with its magic spell. Blame it on the bossa nova that she did so well. Oh, it all began with just one little dance, but soon it ended up a big romance. Blame it on the bossa nova, the dance of love. Blame it on the bossa nova with its magic spell.